Hey, I have no clue why that thing shut off, but we'll just start early, right? So hopefully everybody can hear me. I don't have any issues whatsoever tonight. Oh, let's see. Let's check our channels because last time everything is streaming where it needs to be. So awesome. Hey Connie. Hi Becky. How are you? Should probably, well, I went up to get coffee. I should have been paying attention to my screen. So, how is everybody this evening? We'll wait for that wonderful delay that the internet gives us. Hey, Corey. Oh, Corey and Connie and Becky. Everybody's on YouTube today. Look at that. Oh, I got 4 and 4. And Paul. We missed you, Paul, at Coffee and Clicks. So I need to send out a reminder. I'm actually going to start planning my social media out a little better. I've kind of fallen away from that. So we'll give it another minute or two and see who we have here because tonight is, look at that. I got all that crap in the background. I have a fixation with this Nature's Twist lemonade from Sam's Club. Oh. So let's look here. Well, we'll give it a minute or two and see who we have. So hopefully everybody has been, I don't know, has anybody out been photographing fall colors? I have a little bit, not as much as I wanted to, but more than I have been. So that's kind of how it works. Oh, you were in Florida for your daughter's wedding. Well, that's right. I guess we did kind of discuss that at one point, Paul. Oh, I'm assuming Corey says, oh, yes, to photographing fall colors. So better than I thought. They kind of started popping really quick. Yes, they are really special right now. Things are starting to pop off, but I'm a little worried about today's wind. So, but I don't know how that is going to go for the rest of it. But so tonight I wanted it to be easy because I'm kind of mentally spent from plenty of things lately, and I just thought we'd do a Q&A. Connie says yes to fall colors. So as I put in the last minute Facebook event that I created, you have the questions, I have the answers. So, but that's the plan for this evening. So I will be here as long as you have questions and my camera holds out. I only got like 2 bars left. I don't know what's up with that, but oh well, technology. So who has the first question? Anybody? If not, I guess you just get to stare at me all night long for a whole hour. 3 on, perfect. Any questions at all? No? Oh, come on. Somebody's got one out there, and you're all probably like anxiously typing, hey, Pamela, how are you? So, yes, anxiously typing, everyone is. I know it. I can hear the keyboards across the internet. Well, I'm going to find something to talk about for a brief second, then, if nobody has a question quite yet. If you're not typing, you're thinking, right? Hey, Don, it is awesome to see you. So we got a little bit of YouTube and a little bit of Facebook. Best time to capture those fall colors? Morning, later afternoon? Good question, Corey. I think it depends on location. So, yes, Becky, classes. We'll get there. You know, I'm going to start making a list here just in case I don't see something. Get the old sticky notes out here. Classes are coming. Yes, classes are coming. Classes, one other thing, fall. So if not, I'll forget. So let's start out with Corey. So Corey asks, best time to capture fall colors, morning, late, or afternoon? And if you've heard me teach before in a class, I always say it depends a lot, like it depends. And that's because I think location. So if you go out to Palisades, it can be early morning if you're photographing along the river, like to the what I think is the south side of the park, because that's where the light hits. And then later in the day when that sun goes from, out on the horizon up higher, that's when it starts to fill in like the road down there. So it's one of those things, if you go out and kind of like plan ahead a little bit or no. So Larry Gilds, if you don't know Larry, he used to be part of Lynn Area Photo Club. He and I went up to, God, it's probably been 5-6 years ago now, if not longer, to Devil's Lake State Park up in Wisconsin. And when you got there in the morning, you couldn't really photograph anything unless you were down along the edge of the lake. And then we kind of planned our day around as the sun moved, and then we moved location, so then everything was light. I prefer to photograph fall colors when they're kind of backlit. I think they have that more magical glow, but you're not going to get every like scene backlit, because this, you could have a hill or something that's going to block. But I think it depends on the day, Corey, or time of day, location. Probably best. I don't know. I like early morning. That's when I went out to Palisades. I went out about 7:30, but I didn't feel like the light got real good till about 8. So, but depends. But if you're going to go photograph one side of the park, then I would go later in the evening. Let's see. Pamela says, any interest in a Lightroom group that we can learn from each other? Ooh, I thought about doing a Lightroom class. So let's talk classes. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to offer in classes. I think I'm going to offer an intentional camera movement class for the ICM stuff. I was thinking about doing Lightroom and a basic photo class right off the bat. So those would be the 3. Hey, Diane. Oh, yes, Corey says, makes sense. I like light on the leaves for sure. So Connie says, or asks, have you used iPhone lenses? I've been peeking at Reflex series of lenses on Kickstarter. Looks like they have interesting apps too. Back in the day when the iPhone had no zoom, I tried a set from ProMaster that I really liked. It came with a macro, a circular polarizer, and like a 3 or 5 times telephoto zoom, like one other thing. And I liked it. I mean, they weren't bad. They were good quality. Because back in the day, you got those really cheap, crappy Amazon ones, and they weren't like great. I mean, obviously, it's just like a camera lens. You've got, if it's all made out of plastic, then you just have a toy camera going on. Oh, Becky says yes for ICM and Lightroom. Would love to learn more about flashes and lighting. Oh, that's not a bad one too. I'll write that one down. But for iPhone lenses, I mean, the ProMaster ones were like $100, which was probably pretty steep at the time. I have a feeling they've discontinued those. I almost see in a sense that lenses for your phones are going to be obsolete at some point, just because all the new phones are coming out with these super telephoto lenses, and the image quality is still very high and very clear. I use my native iPhone zoom. I don't pinch and zoom in on anything, because then I lose quality. But I think on mine I have a 1x, a 3x, and a something else. Oh, a 0.5, a super wide angle. So, but eventually I think they'll all become obsolete. I haven't even looked at the new iPhone, because I'm not ready for an upgrade, probably for another year or more. Probably another year and a half or so. So I guess the new one's supposed to have like super crazy great zoom, but I haven't played with it, so, because I'm not in the market to shop for a new phone. Plus, I heard the new iPhone is like $1,500, which is stupid. But whatever, it is what it is. I guess when you pay for it monthly and they break it up, it seems cheap. So, kind of going back to classes, I bought a Zoom function for a whole entire year, so for some other projects coming up. But the Lightroom one I would definitely want to do in person, but I think like ICM and some of the basic stuff I'll be able to offer Zoom. Be nice, because you don't have to leave your house and travel somewhere and rush home from work and eat on the way and all that jazz. And then I could send everybody the, I believe from my website, the link once it's scheduled, like in the email when you sign up and pay. And then I could also be able to, after the class, send everybody the recording. I have no problems with that. So then you guys can rewatch in the future. So any other questions on anything? I know somebody's out there bound to have a question or 2 or 3 or 4, because there's 11 of you on here now. So Everybody's got to ask at least one question. How about that? And there goes my sticky notes. Good thing I have another pile over here. Oh. Like I said before, I can anxiously hear all the keyboards whizzing away on the interwebs. And my mouse went dead. Wow. Oh, well. Oh. Any other questions? I'm trying to think of some other stuff that's coming up besides my book. I guess I can talk about that for a minute. I'm kind of tired of talking about it. Everybody's asking me about it, but it is what it is, right? I got to promote it. So if you didn't know, thoughts on Topaz. Let's do that real quick. A lot of people like it. I'm trying to remember exactly what Topaz has. Let me pull up. I want to pull something up on my iPad real quick. Thank you. Thank you. I know Topaz offers a or used to. Stop. Well, let's see. Topaz Labs. Let's see what they all have these days. I get emails with them all the time. Yes. So the first thing on Topaz's website, according to the old iPad and the interwebs over here. Okay. Connie says, I love Topaz Photo AI. Yeah, that's what they're talking about here. It looks like it's the gold standard in photo and video enhancement software designed for professionals and optimized for local workstation. Let's see what Photo AI has to say. Diane says Topaz. It's another software, Diane. Ooh, Jiminy Christmas is $199, which if it works, I won't complain. So it looks like the big thing they're showing right off the bat is it's taking a pixelated low-res file and jacking up the quality, which would be super cool if you're going to do some bigger prints and don't have it. But I know the software does a lot more. So Photo AI. So sharpen, remove noise, and increase the resolution of your photos. So I have the older version of Topaz for the noise reduction, and I will tell you that thing works phenomenal. I've had some stuff where it's kind of noisy, as you enhance your photos. The noise kind of comes around, and it's very automated. You just click a few things like high noise, so on and so forth, and it literally just wipes out it. Now, Lightroom, though, if you do have Lightroom, Lightroom now has the new AI, lots of new things on Lightroom with the update of 13. But they recently had their enhancement AI for noise. It works well. I mean, if you have nothing at all, it works great, but I still like my Topaz. Diana says I have Topaz and love it too. So, I mean, Topaz is kind of becoming one of those things. I think they'll always be ahead of the game as long as they don't drop the ball and get behind Adobe, which I don't think they will because it's kind of their main thing. Chris says, how about AI features on one software? Do you mean like a class, Chris, or just in general? Yeah, Becky says, I don't find that Lightroom's denoise works very well. I would agree. It works if you have it. Let's put it this way. It works better than the previous Lightroom noise reduction. I'll say that. But I still think Topaz does much better. Now, some people will fight me to death on that, and that's fine because that's photography. It's all to each their own. Let's see. I don't think I missed anything. So, no. It looks like they do. Video AI too. That's even more. It's $249. But yeah, Topaz has always been a pretty solid software. Pamela, yes. Topaz does integrate with Lightroom, Photoshop. They just had a whole litany of lists here. Come on, load again. Yep, so it says Windows, Mac, and then, it looks like on one as well. Lightroom and Photoshop. Yep, so what I usually do is I will go down to the photo on that little film strip, if that's what you want to call it, in Lightroom, and right-click it. And I'll say Edit In, and I'll say Topaz Denoise once the file, or not the file, the plugin is installed, and then it opens it up separately. And when I do my whatever through Topaz and I hit save, it loads it back into Lightroom. That's usually my last step. The software 2023 raw. I still think I'm not following you, Chris. Sorry. Like for Lightroom, I know Lightroom has a bunch of newer stuff. Nothing that I have played with enough. Paul says I use On1 and find that the AI noise reduction and sharpening to be amazing. Yes. Connie says I use Topaz Photo AI on vintage photos. Very helpful. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that Topaz doesn't do more than what they do, because I'm surprised they haven't come up with a complete, utter software on their own like Lightroom or On1. But I guess they just prefer to do the plugins, which is fine. Oh, any other questions on anything so far? Comments, questions, concerns, as I always say at work to people. Let's see here. No, I was going to talk about my book, and then somebody had a thing. So if you don't know, I have a book coming out in 1 month on the 27th. See, look, everybody helped each other out. Paul got Chris taken care of. Look at that. So my book, Iowa, Land Between Two Rivers, right? Yeah, sure. It's been a long day. Comes out November 27th. So I will have copies for sale. I placed, thank you, Diane. I placed a order this morning for 200 books. So that's a lot of books, but I wanted to order more, but the price tag got a little hefty. It was already a hefty bill anyway. So I'm looking into filters. Do you have a recommendation on key ones to have for landscape? Yes, 2, neutral density and circular polarizer. And if it was me, circular polarizer for sure. Neutral density you can probably go without. Diane asked, where did that idea come from? The book, which, can you elaborate, Diane? Because I'm always like 3 steps ahead of the delay. So. But I think the polarizer is probably like the number one, because that's something you really can't, what do I want to say, really create post-process wise. I mean, you can fake it in a sense, but it just works. The filter works better. Oh, the book idea. So the book idea was not my idea. I've always wanted to do a book, but there's always those goals in life that you always have it you never think you're going to do, but you got to strive for something, right? And that was mine. I was eventually going to self-publish a book, just like on Blurb. So you could go out and order the dumb thing for $50, and it was just all digital until it was ordered. It was print on demand. It was always a dream versus an idea to do a actual book through a publisher. But the more I researched it, the more it seemed unattainable, because you have to pitch it and pitch lots of things to lots of companies. And, they actually found me. So they found me through Instagram, of all things. Instagram. At first I thought it was a scam, and then I did some Googling, and the guy's name, LinkedIn account, which still can be faked, and a whole bunch of stuff. And he hounded me for about 5 to 6 months and said, do you want to do this book? We'd love to have you do it. And I was like, scam, scam, scam. So one day I got bored and I was like, okay, whatever. I did some more Googling, and I said, sure, hell, send me something. So he sent me a bunch of stuff. Sent me a book proposal. To be honest, I half-assed the book proposal. I just generally wrote some very random ideas down on the page, and they were like no to 2 of them. The third one, they're like, we'd love for you to do like photos of Iowa that are abandoned buildings. I'm like, I really don't have a huge portfolio of that work. They're like, that's no big deal. How about a photo book of Iowa? I'm like, that I can swing. And I was like, okay, here it comes. In the past, I've heard of places that will do this. They'll reach out to you. And then they're like, yes, your proposal's approved. Once you pay us $5,000, we'll publish your book. So I was expecting that. I still didn't fully believe it to be true. And then it was Black Friday 2 years ago. I was in Omaha, and there's a shop in the old market that everything in the shop is made in Nebraska. And there was a book, Abandoned something, 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 called like Abandoned Nebraska. And I picked it up because it looked eerie familiar to me. And I flipped it over, and it was the same company who reached out to me. So I thought, okay, maybe this isn't a scam. Well, then he stopped emailing me after he's like, this is the proposal I would send to the board of editors, whatever the hell they are. So that's what I did. And for the next year, I emailed every month and said, are you going to approve it? If not, it's no big deal. I would just like to move on. Nope, we're still busy. We're doing lots of other things. We have lots of things in the work. I'm like, okay. So each month I emailed and got the same pretty much textbook response. And then last November, I said, okay, this is the last time I'm emailing them. The ball is in their court. And I never got a response back. Usually it was like a 24-hour response time, because the other thing I left out was this, the guy who reached out to me was from England. So that's why I also thought it was a scam. But long story short, I got an email from the actual publisher, the guy in charge who only sends out contracts, and he sent me a contract and said, here you go. This is how it happens. Don't quit your job. You're not going to become a millionaire. You're not Stephen King, which we all know. Nobody is, it's rare to be that person. So they're like, think of this as a badge of honor. You have a book. It's a marketing tool. It makes you sound better, right? Okay, cool. And I read through a contract. It didn't seem too terribly scary. I was going to have a lawyer look at it, and he wanted way too much money. And then I asked a couple of follow-up questions, signed it, and sent it. And they said, here's the final contract. You have May 31st of 2023 to have it completed and sent to us with everything we want. So they're like, here you go. And right off the bat, they're like, here is your contact at the company. You will deal everything with her. And I was like, cool. And she goes, I need this and this within the next 2 weeks. I had to write a marketing blurb, send some photos over for cover, so on and so forth. And then they sat on that for a while, did a bunch of design, mocking up. I actually think I had the cover approved in the back. I actually had the entire cover, front, back approved before 90% of the book was done. I had to write a little bit, which I don't love to do, but in the end, it was fun to say. But the worst part was coming up with 140 photographs for the book. So yeah, it was an interesting process. Lots of steps, send it in, and then all this kind of stuff. So yeah, so the 27th, and it's already online. It's on Amazon, it's on Google, it's on bookshop.org, it's on everything. And then hopefully I have a marketing person too that is going to set up book signings for me. So yes. Oh, so Pamela just says, before the recent Lightroom update, could you adjust individual colors? Am I missing something? Yes. Yep, you could adjust individual colors in Lightroom or black and white, which sounds weird. But when you would click in your color, it was down. I don't remember what they called it. Now it's under like point color and something else, or color mixer. But you could go down and pull out just the reds. And you could either change the red with luminance, hue, and saturation. Those were the three, and they were a slider. And you go to the right, you got more red. You go to the left, less red. I'm not really loving the whole Lightroom thing at the moment on where they change things, but it is what it is. It's just, you have to learn it. So Diane asks, 140 photos. Did they put the book together for you, or you had to organize it? So I half and half. So I organized into 4 kind of chapters. So there is like barns and structures of Iowa. There's details of the landscape. And there's kind of like more, there's another, you think I would know this at the top of my head as much as I've worked on it. And then there's another one where it's kind of like photos I've just like come across on the back roads. So they got all these 4, they're 4 little like chapters in a sense, and they have an introduction to each. So I had to go through and just give them everything. Oh, if my camera battery dies, I will have to switch over to my stupid, what do you call it? Laptop camera, which will look like crap, but it is what it is. So any other questions? I know, let me go through. I don't think I've missed anything. Nope, nothing so far. Oh, come on. There's 11 of you on here. You're bound to have some questions. Oh, hey, Trent. How are you? So, oh, come on. Questions. Like I said, I can hear everybody anxiously typing. I like the Q&As. It's a lot less, what do I want to say? A lot less time demanding for me anyway. So, so Diane says the beautiful lighting on one object photo tips. Do you mean just like tips for lighting, like landscapes, or just like lighting an object, like natural light, strobe? I could take that a million ways if I'm understanding it correctly. Oh, like settings. That's a the leaf, like the photo that I did, or where do I want to go with that? I could go about 15,000 ways with that. One, if it's lighting, it has to be there. Like using natural light. So for one, lighting has to be there, especially natural light. Like, yes, you can fake light in a sense. I'm almost saying you enhance light when you're editing a photo. You can't always make things. It's Photoshop, so yes, you can lie and make things light come from a direction in a sense where it's not really coming from if you want to. But if you're just using natural light in a sense of no extra photoshopping crap, it has to be there for number one. I mean, if you got a leaf on the ground and you want a spot, like lit, I mean, obviously the light's got to be coming from here down onto your leaf. Now you can enhance it by going into Lightroom or Photoshop and masking the leaf and just brightening the leaf oh so slightly, whatever. But first the light has to be in that position in a sense. So the sun's got to be over here, so on and so forth. And you've got to kind of bring it out. Now, natural light in general, that's when Corey asked, when do I go out and take fall colors, morning, evening? Depends what you want. If you want backlit, photos, then you're going to have to, when the sun's setting, you're going to have to go towards the sun, hoping that the sun is lighting up the subject from behind for backlight. Now, if you want them front lit, then the sun's going to have to be behind you, falling on, the front of your subject to front light it. So, excuse me. So again, it has to be there. Like, it has to be coming and doing its thing. We can't just make it happen. If that was the case, I could go out and do things when I wanted. Connie says they've always used Lightroom Classic. I'm seeing changes that might make Lightroom of more interest. Do you have to keep everything in the cloud? Any comments on two versions? So I use one version. I use the whole Lightroom Classic. I accidentally this week downloaded the stupid Lightroom, whatever they call it these days. Maybe they just call it Lightroom. I don't remember. On my desktop. Now, what I will say it's nice is, yes, everything does have to go to the cloud. So the more you put onto the cloud, the more you pay Adobe when you run out of space. But the one thing that is nice, everybody's always asked in Lightroom, I want everything to sync. So if I pull up my laptop and I pull up my desktop and I pull up my iPad and my iPhone, if I want all those Lightrooms to look the same, if you use the non-classic version, as I will call it, they do sync together, which is super cool. And you can run a sync and you can catch everything from one to one. I do use what I'm going to call Lightroom Mobile because I'm super old and that's what they originally called it. I do use that on my iPad for rough, dirty edits. I don't use it to be my only one because, I mean, I've played around. You can't mask worth of crap on an iPhone and expect it to, it's this big and see it. So I'll just do quick little edits just if I'm dinking around or if I'm on vacation or I'm on a trip. I'll down and dirty edit a photo just to kind of get it out of here and onto like some device or paper so I can recreated over here to the left of me, stuff like that. But I think it just depends on what you want to use. I mean, if you're not a huge photo, I don't want to even say enthusiast, like in a sense you're not into, you don't have the desktop and you're more of a mobile person and you're not running 100,000 photos a year, 40,000 photos, 20,000 photos a year, whatever you're running, clicking a year, then Lightroom works awesome for the non-classic, as we'll call it. But I've always used classic. Again, my iPad Pro, that's nice. I'll bring up Lightroom on that, and I'll use my Apple Pencil and stuff like that. That's nice for quick little edits, but I'm not going to ever switch completely unless they force you to go that way. And let's not put that out into the universe because we already pay them enough the way it is per month. But I used to complain about that, but I don't anymore because I'm not spending $100 every year or two on a disc that gets uploaded or downloaded one time to the computer and then installed and then sits in a pile for the next 50 years or goes into the garbage. So any other questions? Everybody's got good stuff tonight. So kind of going back to our roots, the whole thing that started in a hotel room. Oh, so Paul says, what do you use to back up your photo catalog? I do an external hard drive. There's no safe 100 safe bet thing. Hard drives go bad. Cloud companies can go out of business. So when it comes to backing up, I back up my final images. So things I'll never I shouldn't say never edit it again because I do believe you can re-edit when new technology comes out. But things that I'm going to send to Iowa every year, that stuff, that goes to a standard hard drive, what I call final images per se. Then I also put some of those on like a cloud like Google Drive, not all of them. The biggest thing with backing up is multiples. I've looked at the system in the past where the hard drives slide in and out of like the box thing, like the tower, and then you can just slide them back in. It's pricey. It's not cheap by any means, but when I was looking to do it, I wasn't at that point where I felt that it was necessary. So before you would have had thousands of images on negatives and filing cabinets and binders. Now we just have them digitally. But the biggest thing with backing up, Paul, is multiples. So have them on the, one or two external hard drives, maybe have them on a cloud or something somewhere. It just depends on what works best for you and what you feel comfortable with. Any other questions? No. Yes. Trent says I use 4 SSDs. So yep, Trent's using solid state drives. That's a good point, Trent. That's all my hard drives are solid states. So no moving internal parts. Less likely for issues. Diane says, do you recommend a desktop over a laptop for editing or both? And Trent says, yeah, store in different locations. Yes, definitely store in. Don't put them all in one box because if the whole box goes up, then you lose everything. I prefer the desktop over here because my monitor is mounted on the wall here. I could try to turn and show it to you, but it'd be a hot mess. But one, because my monitor is always at the same angle, I don't see things differently. Because if you sit there and you angle your monitor on your screen on the laptop, you will see it change. I mean, you can get it close all the time. I just don't prefer. I mean, now that I have this huge ass monitor over here, it's nice to have this big thing and I can see more. If it was me, I would have a dual monitor setup, but I'm not. I don't have the space for that because I do lots of multiple tasks at once. Imagine that, huh? But no, I mean, have I edited on a laptop? Yes. That's how I always used to do it until I got a desktop, and then I fell in love using my desktop, and that's where it will stay. Any other questions? Ooh. Make sure, I'll scroll back through, make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, come on. Somebody's bound to have another intriguing question. I know it. I just know it. Come on. Somebody's got something. I know they do. Oh, Diane says different locations for storage. Yes. Yeah. So, don't throw them all in your desk drawer, because if your house gets floated away in a flood, then you've lost them all. I know some people who have offsite locations that they back up. Most, or other places that are less likely. I mean, yeah, example, yeah, you could do a safety deposit box at the bank if you wanted. Unless your bank was downtown in Cedar Rapids in 2008, then you were probably in trouble. But if you had them backed up at home, then you were fine. So yeah, multiple locations. So yeah, somewhere like if you have a fireproof safe, I'd probably put one in there, put it in a different room, and then you have one in your office. And then more than likely, even if your whole house goes up and your safe is in there and it should be good enough, then you should be okay. But just depends on what you want to do. Like I said, I know some people who have complete off location stuff. Any other questions? I was going to look at Topaz more, but they don't offer me much. Oh, learn more, huh? Oh, that's the video one. When I run Lightroom, Pamela says, when I run Lightroom, the fan in my computer runs a lot. Your thoughts? First thing that comes to my mind is you're probably using a lot of computing power. You're making it stress out a little bit. So it may just be running the fan to keep the heat down so you don't screw things up. I think if I remember right, is it a Mac or a PC? I want to think PC, but I know on some of the older Macs, some of the fans had issues and they just kind of poop out. You just may have a bad fan too. Who knows? I'm not that much of a technology buff like I used to be when it comes to computers. Because no one in the world uses what do you call it? Macs, it seems like, unless you're into the graphic world. It drives me up the wall at work. My computer is super, super slow. And I'm like, if this is a Mac, we've been done already. But depends on how much crap you've got stuffed in that box. Oh, PC, yeah. So, I mean, I think, Pamela, probably the first thing is you've just got a lot of computing going on. So it's making things think really hard, so it's kicking on a fan. That would be my first guess. Now, if you're doing like Word documents and stuff, just typing away and it's running a fan, then I would take it to a computer person probably. You just may have a bad fan at that point. But like I said, I don't know much about computers anymore. Any other questions? There's 13 of you hanging out here. Oh, 14 now. It's nice to see people on YouTube. It used to be we had nobody on YouTube. So it was all Facebook. Any other questions? Oh, I know somebody's got one. Every time I ask, then somebody has one. So I'm just going to keep asking over and over and over. Oh, next week, I'll just bring it up. Next week is Halloween, so I'm not going to do a show on Halloween because we're going to go out trick-or-treating or doing whatever we do on Halloween these days. So we'll be back in November, and then hopefully by November I'll have my head out of my butt and I'll have some stuff actually planned out. I actually have 6 clipboards that are on my wall now that have 6 different to-do lists based off of what it is. So, and they're all full. Oh, Ben says, "Where's the next photo adventure?" God knows. Who knows? I have lots of ideas. I just don't have the cash. The book really sucked the money, which is fine, but it's okay. Because in theory, I should turn around and sell all those and then double my money, right? In theory. I don't know. I really want to go out to the Northwest, Oregon, but every time I want to go to Oregon, it's in the winter, which means rainy season. I was going to go down. I thought about going down in January to Imaging USA, but I was told that's more of a hangout with photo people than learning anything. So I decided not to go because the hotels are awfully freaking expensive. But oh no, they paid for everything else on the book. They'll have their inventory of books, but if I wanted books for book signings and to sell on my own, I had to order them. So just like anybody would have to. Yeah, so I don't know. Who knows where the next photo adventure may be? Probably somewhere, not local, but in the Midwest, probably. Michigan's on the list, but I don't know. I'm thinking more like next fall, only because since I started the new job, I don't have oodles of PTO. So not that I had oodles of PTO at the previous place, but I don't know. You never know when I'll find a bag of money that fall off the turnip truck, right? So I was hoping to go somewhere in the winter again, like January or February, but I don't know. Maybe, like I said, never know. Just when I think things are going south, things start to look up. So I'll just keep that forward thinking there, Ben, and maybe we'll be good. Oh yeah, I like my new job, Diane. I love my new job. Ah, yes, Rick. Yes, Michigan is on my wish list. It's always been on my wish list. It's just then I Google things, and I was going to go, Ben, to northern Wisconsin this year for shits and giggles, but then by the time I get off at 11 o'clock at night, I would have to drive, and I don't know if I'd make it up there in one piece. And then I'd sleep half the day, and then I'd have to come back the next day to be a giant waste of time. So Rocky Mountain's calling your name. I don't know. I've not been, I guess when I see your stuff, Ben, and what you're doing, I'm more interested in that out yonder, but I've never been fond of Colorado. Sorry. Now, Southwest Colorado, I like that, but I'm still on my bucket list, and I'd like to do it in the next couple of years, is I would love to do Route 66 through Arizona, New Mexico. That's the only part that I really care to do. So that was on my list actually last year. I was going to do that, but last minute planning of trip White Sands is a lot easier. So, but never know. You never know where I'm going to go next, I guess. So. Corey said we went to Duluth for the big Laker ship. See, Duluth is on there too. Diane says Route 66 sounds intriguing. It is, because I don't know. I like that old abandoned stuff. I love retro-y architecture, things like that. You've probably seen the photo I did at a Hanchett Auditorium yesterday. I got another one coming up here in a couple of days. It's scheduled to post, but I don't know. It's really weird. I've been very intrigued with architecture. So I got some ideas for Iowa to go down to the University of Iowa and photograph a couple buildings. So we'll see how that goes. Any other questions? Have you done Route 66, Corey? Like I said, it's always that Route 66 has probably been on my list for a very long time, a very, very long time, like 10 years. Oh, Diane says Duluth is amazing. We took a trip up to Canada many years ago from Duluth. Yeah, it doesn't seem that far away, and then I Google it and I get my time. Oh, part of it. So you've done part of it. Yeah, would it be cool to do all of Route 66? Yes, but I've done some research, and it's like they said like a solid 2 weeks, which I could do at my current job. I don't think they'd have a big complaint about it if I took 2 weeks, but I don't know. Oh, every piece except California. I don't see California's on my list too. I don't know why. Death Valley is on the list still. Yosemite. I was going to go out to Yosemite at the end of January, in February with Paul's photo. Yeah, I don't think you could really put a time on it either, but they said about 2 weeks. I would never get probably more than 5 miles. I could see, yes, it being endless exploration. Yeah, I was going to go out with Paul's photo to do Yosemite in the winter, but unfortunately they had to cancel that. So Firefall, yes, Ben. So yeah, and then they were going to go to Death Valley at the end of January. That's still on, but I'm not going to do that now. I was kind of dead set on Yosemite. So when I'm horrible with that. When I get dead set on something and I can't do it, I don't do anything, which is horrible, but it's the way my brain works, unfortunately. It was like today I had motivation to do lots of things, but I had no motivation to do anything. That sounds really weird, but it's the truth. Let's see. Death Valley in July, Corey. You're smart, but I could have said something else. Get the full experience of Death Valley in July, yeah. I would be a piece of leather dried out. There wouldn't be an ounce of liquid left in my body. Oh, any other last questions? Nothing? Probably do 2 or 3 more questions. I just don't want my camera to die on you guys, and you have to look at this crappy camera from the laptop. Nothing else? Any other ideas? I would say ideas, questions, comments, concerns. But yeah, that's on my list, Becky. Back to classes. So I talked to Paul about some class stuff here too. So I got lots of ideas. I really want to do the ICM class like in November, but everything just caught up with me again time. So, but any other last questions? Going once, going twice. If you haven't, I still have my iPhone photo show through the next couple weeks at Press Coffee in Iowa City. If you want to stop down there and take a look, enjoy good coffee. I love Press Coffee. I told Mindy to have a place up here in Cedar Rapids. She was trying to say, hey, you guys should come down for coffee in Clicks to Iowa City, which I would love, but it's too much of a drive for everybody, considering we're all from Cedar Rapids for the most part, and Connie and everybody up north, which would be another additional 25 or 30 minutes. So, but if we don't have any questions, I'm going to wrap this sucker up, and I'll get to posting some things. So no show next week due to Halloween. What else? Yeah, the book comes out November 27th. So, but other than that, so yeah, if you got questions, you know where to find me. No things. So we'll wrap this up. So Ben just says, add Alabama Hills to your Death Valley Yosemite loop if you can. I will have to. Oh, you're welcome, Diane. Thank you guys for coming as always. So I figured a quick Q&A was a lot more fun than trying to wrangle some crap at the last second. So, but awesome. Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, again, I always thank you. Oh, if you want, you can support the show with that little doohickey up top there. If you want QR code, don't feel obligated, but if you want, you're more than welcome to. That's all I got to say about that. But yeah, so it was good to kind of be back on. I know I've been on a hiatus again, lots going on, trying to figure out the book and marketing things and this is and that's, and what do I do next year if I do anything at all. So awesome. So we are going to wrap this up. You guys have a wonderful evening. And if you've got follow-up questions you think of, shoot me a message. So have a wonderful evening, and I will see you all November something, because I don't remember the date. Have a good evening.